So you want to buy a motorcycle? Let's talk about some of the facts. First, the bad news. Motorcyclists are 28 times more likely to die in a motorcycle crash per mile than people driving in cars. About 80% of motorcycle accidents end in injury or death compared to about 20% of accidents in cars. 35% of motorcycle riders involved in fatal crashes were speeding compared to 22% of car drivers. Motorcyclists aged 40 and over are around 20 times more likely to be killed than drivers the same age bracket in cars. So those are just a few of the sobering numbers to consider before you ever get into motorcycling. But if you're still watching this video, it means you're at least still considering the idea of getting a motorcycle. And before we get to the end of this video, we'll talk about some ways to greatly reduce the odds of you becoming a part of those statistics that we just mentioned. So first, let's talk about 5 key mistakes that new riders make that contribute greatly to those statistics. And then stay tuned and I'll give you some tips to lessen the odds of you becoming one of those stats. The first mistake that new riders often make is skipping on or riding with inadequate protective gear. If I was to write a step-by-step script for how to get into motorcycling, the first step in that list would be to buy good protective gear and to commit to wearing it. You might say, well, helmets are too expensive. Well, I agree, but my answer is if you can't afford a good helmet, you probably can't afford to ride a motorcycle safely. You might say protective gear is too hot in the summer. Well, I agree, but my answer is I live in Texas and every time I ride, I'm wearing protective gear. If it's too hot for you with gear on, don't ride when it's too hot for you to ride with gear on. It's as simple as that. There are tons of excuses when it comes to wearing protective gear, and over the years I've heard them all, but there is one thing I've never heard a rider say in all my years of riding. That was a rider who was involved in a crash who said, man, I sure wish I wasn't wearing a helmet whenever I crashed. Helmets in particular of all motorcycle gear save lives. There's no other way around it. For a new rider, my suggestion would be a full face helmet. You want a riding jacket with armor, motorcycle gloves, riding pants, and over-the-ankle shoes that work well for riding a motorcycle. You know, some fashion boots and things like that, maybe over the ankles, but they're not very conducive to shifting up and down through the gears or getting your foot on the rear brake. So you want something that works well on a motorcycle. If you don't have anything, buy specific motorcycle riding shoes that cover your ankles. When it comes to riding gear, fashion or image is not the objective. Protection is. Bottom line. You know, many new female riders, and I see them on YouTube all the time, pick gear because they want to look cute. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, many new male riders pick protective gear or lack thereof because they want to look tough. Looking cute or tough in your riding gear has nothing to do with being protected. Buy gear that will protect you in a crash and hopefully make you a little bit more visible to traffic around you as an extra benefit. It's impossible for protective gear to fully protect you from every crash scenario, but not wearing it is one of the quickest ways I know of to make the statistics list that we talked about earlier. The next step in starting out is to get training, whether it's an MSF class or a total control class, or if you live in another country, whatever training is offered in your country, do the training, get your license, and make learning a part of your regular riding practice. There is no way that a new rider can learn everything they need to in a new rider class over 2 or 3 days. And I should know, I taught the MSF and total control classes for several years. New classes, in my opinion, qualify the rider to begin practicing on their own and the ability to ride to and from future training classes. But you want to continue practicing and training. The best scenario for you is to take a new rider class and then 6 months to a year later, take an intermediate or an advanced class with a lot of practice in between that first class and the next class. In those 6 months of real riding out on the street, you'll have a much better understanding of the need to ride a motorcycle properly. Intermediate classes and advanced rider classes can be more difficult to find, but do a Google search for advanced motorcycle training and your state, your city, or your zip code, and you can probably find something. If not, take the new rider class again. I've taken it several times myself, and you'll learn something, I guarantee it, the next time you take it or the second time you take that new rider class. If you become a member of MCrider, you'll get access to the digital and a print version of the field guide, depending on what level you sign up for. This has exercises in it that are laid out for you to continue practicing on your own. You can take this field guide to any open parking lot, and you can practice on your own and reinforce those fundamental skills that you need to stay safe out on the road. You'll also get access to the forums to ask questions and find other riders in your area to practice with. But continuing to practice and making a lifelong habit of continuing to train and practice is your best bet when it comes to riding a motorcycle. Now that you got the gear, you have the new rider training, now you're ready to buy a motorcycle. And my recommendation would be to buy this as soon as you can after the class. Because if you wait for months, then you're going to lose a lot of what you gained over that 2-day class period, and you want to begin reinforcing what you learned, in my opinion, within a week of getting that motorcycle license. You don't want to wait very long. Many riders will go out and buy their motorcycle first, then they'll get their gear, and then maybe later they'll get the training, the exact opposite of what I'm suggesting here. The reason I suggest buying the motorcycle after training is you may well learn something in the training class about what types of motorcycles you're interested in. Many riders come into an MSF class wanting a 1000cc sport bike, and after seeing how they handle a 250cc training bike, they lower their expectations on what a good first motorcycle would be for them. In fact, just the other day I was talking to a young rider, and he told me that he took the class and he always wanted a sport bike, and he went out and found a good deal on a 1000cc Honda CBR. He bought that motorcycle and began trying to ride it around the DFW area, and the whole time he was uncomfortable because of the riding position. He was scared to death because of the power of the motorcycle, and he decided to sell it and was considering giving up motorcycling altogether. He did sell the Honda CBR. He had a little bit of cash in his pocket, and he found a Yamaha Bolt that he liked, which is a smaller mid-sized cruiser. He went and bought the Yamaha Bolt, and now he said he loves riding motorcycles, that it was a perfect first bike for him. So getting it right on that first motorcycle can be, have a huge impact on your ability to ride safely and your enjoyment of riding a motorcycle. Now think of it this way. If you had a teenage son or daughter who was learning to drive a car and needed a first car, would you go out and buy them a Ferrari or a Lamborghini as their first vehicle? Well, no, most people probably couldn't afford it, but it would also be way too much power and temptation for a brand new rider. But most people can afford a Honda CBR 1000, but it's just as bad a mistake to buy that as it would be the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. In fact, probably worse to buy that as a first motorcycle, because the consequences of making a mistake on a motorcycle are that much more elevated, as we've seen in the statistics earlier, than they would be in a car. But the mistake is just as bad, probably worse. Back when I was teaching the new rider class, I'd have students introduce themselves and talk about any past experiences they had on a motorcycle. As a new instructor, I would hear someone say that they rode dirt bikes as a kid, and I'd make a mental note, well, that's good. This guy's got some experience with the clutch and throttle and brakes, that kind of stuff. After a few months of teaching new rider classes, I would hear a student say that they rode dirt bikes as a kid, and I'd make a mental note, I need to watch that guy when we get out on the range because he's probably going to need some extra help. It seems that more often than not, a student who rode a dirt bike as a 10-year-old also rode street bikes just like a 10-year-old, even if it was 30 years later. It's too easy to develop bad habits on a motorcycle, and if you're teaching yourself or your uncle is teaching you to ride, it's very likely that you've got some bad habits. And as humans, we only know what we know. Sometimes we think we know what the correct answer is, only to find out through practice and training that there's a much better way to ride a motorcycle, and I can guarantee you it's not like a 10-year-old. Basic maintenance on a motorcycle is so overlooked. For the most part, in a car, you learn to drive it, you just get in and drive. If there's a problem with the car, the worst thing that happens is someone's got to come and get you. Motorcycles require more maintenance than a car, and if something does go wrong, it can have much greater consequences for the rider. At a minimum, you should understand the acronym Decals. That's what the MSF uses to perform basic inspection steps on your motorcycle. So T stands for tires and wheels, C for controls, L for lights and electrics, O for oils and fluids, C for chassis, and S for stand. And those are the basic things that you want to check your motorcycle for on a regular basis. So I can't get into all the details in this video about T-clocks, but if you go to mcrider.com/T-clocks, I've got a detailed list of these pre-ride inspection steps and what you want to look for on your motorcycle. Bottom line is you don't have to be a mechanic to ride a motorcycle. I don't consider myself a mechanic, but you do need to know some of the basics, some of the very basics, and T-clocks are the very basics of the things that every rider should be able to perform on their motorcycle. If you don't know the basic maintenance of your motorcycle, learn to do so, or be prepared to greatly increase your budget by paying someone else to help maintain your motorcycle. So get the right gear and wear it, get training and keep learning, buy the right motorcycle, ride within your limits, and continue to learn as you're riding, and maintain your motorcycle. And if you don't know how to, learn how to, performing T-clocks on a regular basis to make sure that your motorcycle is ready for the road. If you want more information on things to look for in your first motorcycle, I'll have a link either here or here to a video for a complete breakdown on things to look for to purchase your motorcycle. And if that link doesn't show up, you can go to mcrider.com/first, and I'll forward you to that buyer's guide for your first motorcycle to help you make a good decision there. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MC Rider, and I'll see you on the road. There's a whole lot more to MC Rider than just the weekly videos. Go to mcrider.com/member. You'll get instant access to the forums and the field guide. You get ad-free MC Rider videos and a whole lot more. Go to mcrider.com/member for all the details.